Organizations don't truly value employer branding without data. Welcome to episode 56 of the Employer Content Marketing Pod with myself, Chris LeCand-Harwood. If only more people knew how business critical employer branding is. Finding and retaining the right talent is the number one challenge facing organizations. Without the right people, you just don't have a successful business. But this isn't reflected in employer branding and employer marketing budgets. It's serious business without a serious influence in the boardroom. This is the chat with Barbara Zych, founder of EBnavi. EBnavi is an all-in-one platform to assess, benchmark and develop employer brands. Let's get on with the chat. Hi Barbara, how you doing?
Hi Chris, I'm doing very, very well. Nice to see you. Nice to not see you, but hello there, guys who are listening to us.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, thanks for joining. Know you're busy, but happy Friday. It's a good chance just to take a bit of time, step back and have a chat about things. And I think in particular, I mean, we've known each other probably, or maybe just over a year now, I think. So, kind of through LinkedIn and through your conference last year. And I think in particular, something that's come across a few times is you talking about data, Barbara, and you've got a PhD in your LinkedIn title as well. So I was like, I've got to talk to Barbara about employer brand and data. So let's start off with just a bit of an introduction about yourself, Bob.
Yeah, because you told I've got my PhD. Actually, I've got my PhD in psychology, but it was this is telling a lot about me and my approach. Is like I was trying to do it was taking case theory into research method in psychology. So that was crazy.
Yeah.
But I was crazy enough to do that, and because I'm a believer, and I would say I'm a believer, a crazy believer, because I'm trying to do for like 12 years now in employer branding, 20 in HR. In total, I'm trying to bring data, technology, and science into employer branding. So I'm crazy enough to think that we should use data, science, technology, and employer branding. So I like to think about myself as a believer, a strong believer, because there are many other areas you can use data and technology, but I desperately choose these and constantly choose this employer branding. And I'm helping with my team. I'm helping organizations to build a better brands through using data, technology, and science. So that will be a short introduction of myself.
And you've got so particular. You have a particular platform that enables companies to access data to understand their employer brand more. So tell us a bit about that, about it, and also why you have that as an offering.
Well, because why we have it, because well, there's a story behind. So just let me. There's a short story. It's like it was like 10 years ago. Maybe we started to consult companies and with huge companies, which means you go into the company and you're trying to understand what's going on. You're asking employees, you're asking candidates, you're asking C-level managers, line managers, and you're trying to understand what's going on here. So being an employer branding strategy consultant means like you have to look at all the data they've got, all the processes they deliver or they want to deliver the experiences. And once we started to do these things, it was like a huge list of data or single data points you have to see. You have to start from how they're building awareness, how they select people, what they're telling about themselves outside, how people seeing them, what people need, if it's true or if it's not. Then you see the onboarding process, performance management, learning, etc. How these deliver the experiences and what people get, what they think about it when they are within organization. Are people happy with that? Why the communication is not working? Why the people do not feel vision, etc., etc., etc. It's like it was like a lot of data you have to look at to understand the employer brand itself, the organization as a whole. I'm a big fan of system thinking. So we really need to go through all the data. So we started to prepare our own algorithm to help us to quickly understand and see the organization through, to quickly assess using algorithms how this organization, this particular organization is doing in comparison to other benchmarks. So this is the story how it started. And these days, what we're doing, we're also collecting live data and integrating it under one framework, which is about EVP talent journey. Talent means candidate and employee journey. Then we want to see the recommendation and what should I do if I want to get better. So we started to collect the live data from candidates and employees, and this is actually an HR, obviously, about the processes. And it's like actually this is the tool that is helping us to see these organizations through using based on data. So because this is really hard these days to get the data from outside organization, inside the organization, and see and play with data and choose the right insights. We are on the stage these days in employer branding, but in HR as well, where we have no problem with getting the data, because we can get every data we want these days because of this is the easy peasy job. It used to be not. It was always about, okay, how can we get the data from? These days we can get literally data from about everything you want. The problem we are now facing this stage is about how to play with data and how to get the valid insights, how to integrate employee engagement survey, pulse survey, whatever you want, however you want to call it, with the candidate experience surveying, or with the passive data from your Slack or Jira. It's like you have to have a common assured framework to understand and get the insight out and to play, to manage your brand. So I was like, the platform is obviously evolving, but it's like we're trying to help our clients to have one dashboard, live dashboard, that we see how the employer brand, how people are reacting to our brand, how we're delivering the processes. So yeah, it's like fascinating journey, and I find it really interesting and helpful because this is actually our job to not to bring the data, because that's easy, to produce the insights and have our clients understand what to do with that. So because every brand is different, the framework is the same, pretty the same, and that's fascinating because I'm looking at the different regions worldwide these days. Like I'm looking at the cases from States, from UK, from Mexico, from China, even from India. So looking at, because we are on a constant journey to look for the great case study for the employer branding stars. So we're looking at different case studies, but we see that the framework is pretty the same. The markets are different, but what we do employer branding worldwide is pretty the same, because actually this is common. This is similar to what marketing is actually doing. They've got a product, we've got EVP, they've got the customer journey, we've got talent journey. We are producing the effects like retention and sourcing. So this the model is pretty the same, so we can use it. But companies are struggling with integrating the data under one framework and seeing the valid insights to play with further on setting the KPI, setting the roadmap, executing the brand, and assessing if they are effective or not. So this is actually what we're doing and what I find fascinating these days.
And it's you could certainly argue that the role of data is really important to elevate the profile of employer branding, employer marketing in an organization, and making sure it gets to the boardroom more and has a place to play. Because most companies, if not all companies, if you don't have their people and they're not happy, they're not in the right jobs, then you don't have a business. It's as simple as that, and if you don't have those people, then they don't have happy clients, customers, and you don't have a business. So that role of data in kind of elevating the importance of what employer branding is all about. Where do you think we are at the moment with that, in terms of is is your kind of part of your mission with data are you kind of recognizing that business case isn't there enough at the moment, and so data is going to make sure that, say, in 5 years' time or come the end of the decade, that actually, employer branding has a serious seat at the table and has, serious budgets, or more serious budgets, allocated to this space? Quite a long
That's
question,
interesting.
but yeah, just an interesting.
That's interesting question. I do not have an answer to that. Like, I'm not even sure if employer branding will exist in 10 years. Sorry for saying that. Like, meaning like employer branding. We don't know how HR is going to look like in 5 years. These days, there's a huge discussion around like how to model, how to design the HR function, like people function. Let's be honest, not HR, people function. So I've got a lot of discussion of how the employer branding teams should look like, what's the role, what's inside the companies, inside the teams. Like, are we going to be still in this phase that we've got employer branding folks? I'm not sure. Look at the roles that are coming up. It's like we've got much more roles like employee experience manager, for example, employee community managers these days. So it's like it's evolving, but it's still about building experiences that make your people happy and perform well. That's the most important part for the business when you think about it, about the retention. And I'm not sure who is going to do that. It's like it doesn't matter at all. It's like, is it going to be like happy employees manager or employer branding manager? It doesn't matter that much for me now, but obviously it's like it's still going to be about how we sell the product, which we call employment value proposition, or EVP, or people value proposition, how we deliver that to our people, to our right guys, how we source for the company. As you said, we've got, at least that is something that is really important, at least we've got the shared level with the C-level guys. Like, C-level means managers who are deciding where we're going, or what we're giving the money, where we're investing our money. It's like we have this shared level, like who we should source to the company that bring us the best results we want to see or we can achieve. So this is the shared level. And the employer branding guys, or people managers guys, like let's stick to employer branding guys. It's like this is the shared goal and the shared need. And what we should do is think about, okay, so because you're probably going to ask me about the KPIs, or how to set the goals, or what can data bring to that, and what to measure. It's like there's no good answer. It's like you're not measuring the whole brand. Obviously, what we do, we try to catch that, to see the benchmarks and tell every brand, all right, you've here, we've got the typology for how mature your employer brand is, but it's for totally different thing. When you're talking with a business, it's like what they want from employer branding team, manager, teams, whatever. It's like, bring me the best people to my company that are going to execute the goals that well, that we get the performance level at the very highest level we can reach. So then you have to understand, okay, so how can I help achieving this? And then you're starting to think, okay, so what we're doing, what stops us from bringing the best people to the organization, and what we're doing, what stops us, from keeping the best guys within the company, and not only keeping them, but making them happy, making them performing well. And when going through this list, and what stops us from resource, this is very simple actually. It's like you're going to the brand, internally, externally, you're just asking these two questions. What stops you before being successful in sourcing the right talent for the organization? And that's where the journey with the data starts, because you have to see, okay, what's the blockers? What's the inhibitors? Where are they? Is it awareness? Is it people do not know us? No, meaning candidates do not know us. That's totally different story than the but it can be like people know us, but they do not accept the offer. The rejection rate is high, and that's actually one of the favorite questions. Like, what the hell is with your rejection rate? Do you understand your rejection rate? It's like, do you have data to prove like people do not like you, or do they do not like be part of your offer? It's like about culture. It's about, you know, other people telling them which stage they're rejecting your offer. Maybe yes. So it's like, so you're looking at the processes. You're looking for the data to first understand what is stopping you from sourcing the best people you can get to your organization. And obviously, we understand that best people is not like the best hot talents on the market. Best people for you company, best people for your business. So first, you have to understand who is delivering the business in case of our company. So the personas profiling is one of the most important part of, as we know, and data can help with that as well. But yeah, so it's like you go through the process, and then you do the same process on the employee journey, and you ask yourself, okay, so what are we doing wrong, or what stop us from keeping people happy, well performed, and staying within our organization? Obviously, you want to see top performers, low performance level, because it's not true that you want to keep the low performers. Even if you think about, I'm the organization who is providing happiness, but still, like, you still fight for these high performers. So then data can help you, like, to see what's the difference between low and high performance, and then you want to know and discover what stops you from keeping best performers within the organization. So it's that simple, but obviously the journey itself is can be really hard, because if you have no data, then you have no answers. You cannot tell, okay, so why people are not why people are candidates, why are they not accepting the offer? Is it because like the offer itself is not nice or not enough? Maybe we're not addressing the needs, or, you know, many hypotheses that you have to check to get the answer. So data itself, it's not that sexy. It's like, it's sexy because they're bringing you the insights and answers to your hypothesis questions, and then you can see the whole picture through, and see the leverage points. This is very important. When you look at the talent journey, you see the leverage points, you see which processes you have to focus on at the very beginning to let your employer brand work in and help to deliver the business effects. So that's actually the nice part of the data. Because this is a common thing these days. It's like thinking about data. Oh, this is nice. I'm seeing a lot of articles, a lot of research, a lot of really great stuff and tools bringing data. That's really like developing market. But these data are bringing very how to say that, the insights from this data are very helpful, but you have to be sure that you got which insights, which data sets, which information, which what to choose that is in the most of the most importance to your business and to your goals, because we've got many data these days, so you have to choose wisely, and that's the problem.
So I suppose so actually it's because so you can analyze pretty much anything, but actually, you know, and I like, it's not surprising where your PhDs come from, because there's that, you start from a curious standpoint, you know, that consultative curious approach, which is asking us questions to then help you understand which areas of data you then focus on, rather than going, there are these typical data points that, you know, you need to look at, because it can vary depending on, you know, on the organization content. What else have you found over the years is important to help understand the success of employer branding?
This interesting question is like, I can say what we usually do when we look at the first time on the employer brand. So we definitely want to first understand what is persona, what is the profile of persona, and deeply understand, not like, oh, this is a tech guy from I don't know, Warsaw, let's say, and it's like this and this. We really want to first understand who the business, who business needs. It's like, who is going to deliver the business goals. So this is not true that this is a HR guy's responsibility, like only HR guy's responsibility to shape the persona, because this is actually about asking business, okay, guys, who do you need? Who is going to deliver the business, the goals that you're planning to reach next, like 3-5 years, if they know what's going to be in 5 years, obviously. But this is actually the persona profiling, very important part. Business and talking with them, who is going to be happy with us, because there are different cultures, different business models. It's not always like, it's not always like, not every business is about being a stable, nice atmosphere, etc. There are businesses that have to be sharp, have to be driven, and this is totally about different personas when you think about mindset. So this is important. Then you have to understand your consumer brands, what your consumer brand is sending to the world. And then you start to think about, okay, so what is our EVP, what is our product? And this is actually the basic job to be done. But again, it cannot be like magic EVP. I've seen a lot of magic EVP, like somebody is going to the few folds within the organization, asking, okay, so what do you think about our culture? What do you like here? Or even worse, they go into the business guys and asking them, oh, what should we tell the word about us? It's like, you have to think about it very systematically, like you take needs of your candidates, you taking the needs of into consideration, the taking the needs from your employees, then you're asking how they assess the things that we deliver, both sides. Then you look at the customers. That'll be great if your customers can help you to assess the brand. You're looking at the social media, what people talking. You look at the Glassdoor. So you are gaining all this data and insight from how people see us, what we are, dimension, and you then want to be distinctive, which is about the competitors' landscape. Nobody wants to be the same as IBM that much. Let's be honest. So you have to do this part, and then you go into this process part. Like you want to, because it's like when you think about employee experience, let's say, so what is employee experience? It's like, obviously, and everybody understands it, like, okay, we want to produce nice experiences, and everybody wants to do that, yeah, but we have to measure that obviously as well. But it's like the first and basic thing is like, what is producing these experiences? Who is in charge to produce these experiences? What is that? What's the experience of your brand? What brings you the experience, positive or negative? Yeah. So when you understand experiences are produced within the processes you design, so you have a control over designing the processes that are producing the experiences. Yeah. So obviously there is a human part as well, a human touch as well, that is bringing experiences like leadership, for example. But most of the cases, you have to go through the processes that are bringing the experiences and look step by step, process by process, how you deliver that. And this is the point, like delivering experiences is one part, but then you want to be effective as a business process. Yeah. So at the same time, you want to deliver nice experiences, but bring the business results. Like, let's say we've got 5 recruitment stages in recruitment parts of the recruitment process. Yes, so you've got 5 different. That's a long way. So you have to, and nobody likes it. Candidates usually don't like to have 5 stages of the recruitment process. HR don't like it. It's not producing the effect. Maybe when you think about the if we're selecting through these 5 stages better people, then you can say, okay, we need these 5 stages. But to say we do not need 5 stages, you have to go to the the recruitment, let's say, effects and measures, I would say, like, to check if we skip the out of 5 steps, if it's going to bring us the same results. Then we can say, okay, we can change and redesign our process to be 3 steps only. Then it's bringing the more value to the and better experiences to our candidates. But to know that you again need data, because who and based on what is going to skip 2 steps out of 5 in the recruitment process. You need to, you have to be sure that it's not going to harm you. And we've got data for that if you're measuring the recruitment funnel and the tools you're using. So it's like designing the processes that are both bringing business results and better experiences is the key when you building your roadmap. And then you've got your KPIs and the things that you want to achieve. And this is common misconception. Like, you have to develop your brand full. Like, you have to develop all your employer brand. I don't know how to even describe that. It's like because this is something that can help our listeners. It's like, you are starting with the small steps. Once you see the whole picture, you need to choose things that should be done at the very beginning, because they are like kind of leverage points that are bringing you the most revenue out of doing that. And you never start with doing all of things that should be done so easy. It can be done step by step. But definitely data will show you where the leverage points are and what your main challenge and how you can help the business in the most possible way. So it's like there are many more things, like smaller things that we have to take into consideration, but definitely starting from the consumer brands is important.
In particular, what I found over the years is something that teams talk about is the time to hire piece. So there's the candidate experience, but then there's the quality applications, but then there's how long it's taken someone to hire people. Now, I found that sometimes that can distract people, because then it's too focused on speed rather than quality. It can take a long time to find the right person, and that may not just be by putting a job ad in front of them and then they apply and then they join a few weeks later. I was actually talking to someone yesterday where they'd messaged someone on LinkedIn 5 years ago, and then like a few months ago they messaged him saying, "Oh, I really like what you're doing on LinkedIn," and then they end up applying, and that was a 5-year process. So anyway, time to hire, is that something that you find being talked about a lot, and is it a distraction, or is it something that's rightly talked about as an important focus for performance?
Well, I would say I don't like these metrics at all, but it can be helpful. As you said, it's like focusing on time only is not a good idea, because it's not only about the time, how fast is that, and the different job families, if different roles have different time to hire. So you have to be very careful with that measure. And it's not about, I'm not interested in how fast. So maybe it's like, it might be a point that you have to consider and play with the process behind. If your candidates are telling you like, okay, so I'm waiting too long, the bounce rate is high because the time to respond to the candidates or between the particular stages are too long. But first of all, I would say, okay, so what's the problem? Is the time to response, time to hire too long or not? Is it our problem? And then we can go deeper and think about, okay, so what's going on with this time to hire? Because time to hire, it's like it's telling how fast you can source a guy, but the quality is the problem. But I would say, it's like that's a tricky part, because, but let's be honest, we are on a stage, on a level that the data can really play for us, like work for us. So we should rather think, I'm not sure what you think about it, but that's a bit challenging. But I would rather like to see what is time to hire or any other recruitment metrics that is bringing me as a business, that is bringing me the top performers. I care about top performers. It's the average time to hire might be really, really saying nothing, because you're sourcing the low performance and high performance guys. You are bringing time to hire. Yeah. So I want to see these metrics in terms of that. Yeah, but a lot of organizations I've seen are not matching the data from recruitment with the performance yet. And that's a problem. It's like those two words, talent acquisition, is not talking with the guys from performance. And apparently, it's like who owns the performance metrics in the organization, in most of the organization I see. And this is powerful moment when these two databases meet, and we can say a lot about performance management and who is actually our persona, which means this is the guys who are performing well, are happy with the organization, are staying with the organization. And we should focus much more on these guys and be able, using data and our systems, to say, let's focus on top performers and let's see which channel is that we use brought us these top performers, with which communication is bringing top performers, what kind of selection tools are bringing top performance. So we should be focused on that. But this is really we're trying to work with the client like that. This is much about the thing that I'm really fan of, which is called people science, let's say, or people analytics, HR analytics, because this is very powerful when you're mixing this kind of data. And then you can say, okay, let's shape our channels, communication. Even these days, we can really test each singular communication piece, like the Facebook post, Instagram posts, whatever you want. You can see what kind of quality lead is this particular piece is bringing to you, because you have this tracking system that can tell you that this format, this advertisement, this kind of text is bringing the better people. But this is possible only if you've got all these data sets being matched together through one ID, which is one candidate and then employees. So this is because that's statistics, and that's how we play with data. So this is actually the obstacle that is going to be overcome, I think, soon, because this is natural way how we should go, but still we're fighting with that.
Well, it's I think so, often I think recruiting is seen as quite transactional, and that's why things like time to hire, is I think often looked
bring
at
me bring me 100 Java.
I need people now, hiring managers. I need people now. And in a way, if they hire people quickly, thank goodness, we've got people within the business, but then that's just putting off a problem later on, which is they're not the right people, they leave, and the challenge becomes bigger. And just because that challenge is weeks or months away or years away, you'll focus on the transactional data rather than looking at it more holistically. And I think that kind of more holistic look at data just requires there to be more people that have that kind of that mindset to try and connect the dots. But that requires you to to connect different departments in an organization, doesn't it? have them talking to each other and sharing their data and then connecting the data.
Yeah, that's true. That's actually very, very hot problem these days, like how to get the data together from different departments and working together. But it can be done. We've seen organizations doing that. So, and that's the natural way and the only way, I would say, because this is like, it's a live organism, like organization, every company. So you have to, the more data, the more system you've got, it should be doable. But we're not there yet as a standard. So, but hopefully it's going to be better.
You've said about, you have seen organizations being able to connect the data from different departments, different parts of the business.
Yeah.
How do they do that? If someone's listening, and they're going, I really want to be able to, work with other parts of the business to try and connect all of that data together.
Right.
How do they do that? Are there any kind of secrets to the success of doing that?
Oh, that's a long story, it's many different cases, but most of the time, it's like either people who want to work with other people, there are two options. When we think about data, the datafication, it's like either they're afraid that somebody will tell them and see that they're not effective. That's about fear of data. So somebody's going to bring my work on the table and look at the data, and they will see me through, and they see that I'm not delivering that well, that it was set. So this is really, this is something that you can fight with, but this is about fear. So this is not about anything else. So you have to fight with fear. And there are other guys who are just curious, and they see this as an opportunity, and you have to sell it as an opportunity for them, saying like, listen, we're going to be much better with data. You're going to see why people are not accepting your offer, which groups we should target, which is about you going to have much more time for your recruiters, for recruitment team. We are going to see much better and optimize our processes. So you're going to have a gain as well. It is easier when the C-level guys are into data. They understand that it's going to bring a lot of value. So then that's obvious that everybody else should shift the mindset to data and bring the data whenever you pitching anything, you're selling anything, you want some budget, you're pitching the idea, you have to bring data. So that's the data language they're starting to use, and this is how managers, leadership, like frontline, and then specialists are learning that we should use data. So yeah, the story is not always like easy peasy. Most of the cases are not easy peasy, especially in HR. Like we tend to think rather gut feeling was something that, and still is, driving a lot of our decisions. And now we have to, change our minds to look at the data. And sometimes data is saying something totally different than you think. So you have to be curious, and the fear is something that if it drives you, then you have to work with that and overcome that to use the data. So this is a great story. It's how to cope with, especially in HR, it's like how to cope with the fear, how to make people love data. It was who was Yuta from Indeed. She was telling a story last time, because she is going to be masterclass host at the Employee Branding Star Festival, and she was talking the story. Yeah, so she was telling us a story. That was I just remember that to make her team work with data, she had to make them once every week to just focus 1 hour on the data and learn how to use the dashboard, how to use the data. It was painful as hell for a year, but then they started to use it. It was like a new body language, new mindset, Like I have to just look at totally different arguments, different way of thinking. So they have to just first get aligned with what they're seeing, then accommodating it, and see the wins in their daily job and gains. So that was that was like 1 year story. So it was like 55 meetings every week, and that's how you sometimes work with the mindset. Yeah, that can be very
baby steps, isn't it? It's baby steps. Take one step at a time. Don't try and make something feel too big. Just by bit, you're changing behavior, building confidence, and then 52 meetings later, they look back and go, "Oh wow, okay, it's different." Yeah,
time flies when you talk about date.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just wanted to say, it's like I can talk. I'm really into that for years now. So I'm really happy. Like because my PhD was like 10 years ago. So I was always interested in science and finding the proofs. It was called data. It was called proof management, evidence-based management. It was, before we've got this data level stage, but I was always like looking at the proofs and trying to mix academic stuff with the business and trying to sell the science into business. So I was always looking at this, and I'm so happy now that this huge movement, like, oh, everybody should go for data and try to play with data, and we need data for that, and technology is making it like much more easy to get the data. So and the technology is changing a lot. We've got artificial intelligence, so it's helping a lot to play with data. So this is the time when I really believe employer branding can get a lot of nice things and help. But what I see is still like a lot of guys are afraid of using it. So please do not, because it's really, it can be really helpful, insightful, and you can excel with that much better.
What could so someone's taken that step, I think that first step would be to say, maybe have a look at your platform. So where should they go to have a look to see a bit more about what you've been talking about? The
it's like
EBnavi.com.
EBnavi.com, that's the platform. We're using it as well for this is actually important, because if you want to get an audit as an HR, because that's first step on getting the insights about you can do it free these days, because we are organizing the employer branding festivals in the fall this year. So every company can audit themselves, audit their processes by using the survey method, and you can get it free. And we will tell you, like, using our algorithm, what what stage your employer brand is, and if you entitled to get the award. So we are also constantly looking for employer branding stars, which means the brands who are delivering, excelling into using data and designing the processes and experiences. So you can do it when you go to the EBnavi.com, or employerbrandingstars.com. You will find the links to this free audit. Please do. It's our people who are using it, they saying that is a great experience and exercise to see, like, how many things you have to go through or think about when you are employer branding manager. So it's like, because we are really asking about really every process that is connected somehow to your employer brand. So even going through the list with your team is a good exercise to think about how complex this area is, and how many things you should do. Maybe I don't want to make you feel like, oh, this is a lot, but it's like it helps you understand how to manage your employer brand, designing the process. And it's totally free now. It's like you can go, you can register and start filling the survey, and then get the award maybe. Last year we awarded like 26 organizations worldwide, so this year hopefully it will be much more. But yeah,
good stuff.
So
I'll drop the link into the episode description. Right, well, great stuff. Thanks very much. Really appreciate it, and enjoy the rest of your Friday, and more importantly, enjoy the weekend once you get there. Thanks, Barbara.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's like almost weekend. I'm going to.
Right,
I'm going to.
Take care. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed the chat. If you did, feel free to subscribe to get future episodes, and please do share the podcast with others. It really does make a difference.